The federal sequester hits home as a local hospital is making spending cuts. The Ferdinand Town Council is closing in on a key deadline in the search for its next town manager, and Spencer County Regional Chamber of Commerce Chairman Dan Reininger is featured on tonight's edition of Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. In your news, the combination of the federal sequester and the implementation of the Affordable Care Act is starting to make an impact on local entities, including Jasper-based Memorial Hospital. The hospital says it plans to implement $3.6 million in cuts across the board, some of which will take effect next month. The decision, which was announced on Monday, will mean that some hospital employees will be moved into different jobs, and other jobs that were originally budgeted for will have to go unfilled for the time being. This amounts to about 30 jobs that will not be filled, and an additional 6 positions will be eliminated altogether. Currently, the hospital employs 1,525 people. In a news release, Memorial Hospital President and CEO Ray Snowden says he is not sure at this point how the Affordable Care Act will specifically impact Memorial Hospital. However, he says the government and other payers will continue to reduce their payments to providers going forward, and Memorial Hospital must find ways to cut costs while continuing to improve the quality of its care. This news comes on the heels of Medicare reducing its payments to all hospitals across the country by 2% back in April as part of the federal sequester, which was designed to trim $85 billion off of the federal budget. Snowden says that will amount to about $1 million per year for the hospital. Other efforts to reduce costs will include the realignment and renaming of the observation unit into the outpatient center. That center will be open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., effective on October 1st. The observation unit currently cares for outpatients receiving blood transfusions and other similar treatments. The unit also handles additional diagnostic testing for observation patients to decide whether or not they should be admitted to the hospital. The new outpatient center will focus more on the patients that are receiving blood transfusions and similar treatments, while observation patients will now be cared for in the hospital's patient tower. Memorial Hospital Chief Financial Officer Randy Russell says the hospital has been once again given an A- rating and a stable outlook courtesy of Standard & Poor's. He says it is rare for an organization the size of Memorial to achieve those standards. An August report published by the Indiana Hospital Association stated that Memorial Hospital had the lowest charge for inpatient services based on adjusted average charges per case out of 87 hospitals statewide. In the outpatient category, Memorial Hospital had the second lowest charge. The town of Ferdinand is closing in on a key deadline in the search for its next town manager. Last night, Town Council President Ken Seacard updated the council on the ongoing application process to fill the town manager's vacancy, which was created when former town manager Mark Stedzik accepted a job at Kimball office. Seacard told the council that as of Monday evening, 10 applications had been received, and a wide range of candidates, including 2 former mayors and a former town manager from other towns and cities, have applied for the position. Seacard says the diversity of the candidates has made the process very competitive. He also says the interview process will be a little bit different than in most situations.
I haven't run across anybody who's an immediate strikeout because they just don't have what we're looking for. So that's the reason for the interview process, is for us to really sound them out, find out who they are. We'll use a different type of an interview process this time, one that the company I work for is using. It's kind of like a behavioral-based type interview process, and we're going to give that a shot and see how that works out for us.
Seacard says people skills will likely be key for a candidate to distinguish themselves from the rest.
What we're kind of looking for is somebody who has dealt with people, handled people, because not only do the town employees work under you, even though there's a supervisor between you and them, you still have to respond to those. And at the same time, you've got the public that's constantly coming in, most of the time with complaints, sometimes with good stuff. So you've got to have that good, HR background, or the ability to work with people has to really be strong.
As mentioned earlier, there is a key deadline approaching in the search process. The deadline for applications to be accepted for the job is coming up this Friday, after which C-Card says the council will likely take a week or so to review the individual applications to decide on those that they wish to interview for the job. There will also be training done for the interview process before the committee, comprised mostly of the council, begins the interview process. The council also held a public hearing for its 2014 budget at last night's meeting, but nobody from the public commented. The $1,930,924 budget, which has already been approved by the Du Bois County Council, is set to be adopted at the council's next meeting, which is set for October 8th. This year's assessed value for Ferdinand came in at just over $88.8 million, which is down 15% from last year, and this year's advertised tax rate as of this point is 0.7662, which is up 22.3% from last year's 0.6265 tax rate. As we head to break, we pause for a moment to remember the tragic events that took nearly 3,000 lives on this day 12 years ago. We will never forget 9/11. Tonight, a special tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice thanks to 101 Country WBDC morning DJ Ty Hunter. Weather will follow the commercial break.
This is at the World Trade Center. Obviously a major fire there, and there has been some sort of explosion. We don't fully know the details. There is one report, as of yet unconfirmed, that a plane has hit the World Trade Center, and you can see that there is smoke there coming out of at least two sides of the building.
We're being told a second plane crashed into the building on the opposite end. That's not an accident, that's on purpose.
North of the World Trade Center, the second building that was hit by the plane has just completely collapsed.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
9/11 will always be a day that represents humanity at its worst and humanity at its best.
Make no mistake, the United States will hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
They were our neighbors, our friends, our husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, children, and parents. They were the ones who rushed in to help. 2,983 innocent men, women, and children. We have asked their families to come here, to speak the names out loud, to remind each of us of the person we lost in New York, in Washington, and Pennsylvania.
So on this solemn day, at this sacred hour, once more we pause, once more we pray.